Happy Saturday, risers. Saagar and I are back to take another look at some of our favorite segments from the week with the Nevada caucus happening today. We thought rather than going back to some of our highlights from Rising this week, we would take one last look at that Las Vegas debate from Wednesday and then give our long-awaited predictions for how it is all going to shake out.
What better place to start? Conversation with the unofficial crowning of Bernie Sanders as the primary's new frontrunner. We've hit on this moment a lot over the last couple of days, but take a look at this clip of nearly the entire field refusing to back the candidate who gets the most votes to be the nominee in the event of a contested convention.
Should the person with the most delegates at the end of this primary season be the nominee, even if they are short of a majority? Senator Sanders, I'm going to let you go last here because I know your view on this. So instead, I will start with you, Mayor Bloomberg.
Whatever the rules of the Democratic Party are, they should be followed. And if they have a process, which I believe they do,
I'm trying to do
so
this,
that
yes or no,
everybody
to make it
else,
fast.
everybody can.
So you want the convention to work its will?
Yes.
Senator Warren.
But a convention working its will means that people have the delegates that are pledged to them, and they keep those delegates until you come to the convention. All of the people.
All righty. Vice President Biden?
Play by the rules.
Yes or no? Leading person with the delegates, should they be the nominee or not?
No, let the process work its way out.
Mayor Buttigieg?
Not necessarily. Not to listen.
Senator Klobuchar?
Let the process work.
Senator Sanders?
Well, the process includes 500 superdelegates on the second ballot. So I think that the will of the people should prevail. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Most votes should become the nominee.
5 no's and a yes.
We may look back at that question and that moment as one of the most significant moments in this campaign. And for anybody out there who's a Bernie Sanders supporter, message to you, he better win a majority or else it is going to be ugly.
It's going to be bad.
All right, the other storyline from this week was how Michael Bloomberg was eviscerated on stage, savaged by the rest of the candidates during Wednesday's debates. The two candidates who were most effective at taking down the former mayor of New York were Senator Sanders and Senator Warren. The two, though, took very different approaches in their attacks. Warren made a point of raking Bloomberg over the coals for his use of NDAs to prevent women from speaking out about alleged harassment and discrimination from their time working at Bloomberg's media empire. And I want to highlight not just the attack itself, but the way that Bloomberg flounders around pathetically trying to defend himself. Take a look.
He has gotten some number of women, dozens, who knows, to sign non-disclosure agreements, both for sexual harassment and for gender discrimination in the workplace. So, Mr. Mayor, are you willing to release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is
Let me
that?
finish.
How many is that?
None of them accuse me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told. And let me just put.
I didn't like the joke I told. That was so terrible.
All right. While Warren had played to identity issues, Bernie went after Bloomberg for not trying to buy his way to the presidency. Let's take a look.
In order to beat Donald Trump, we're going to need the largest voter turnout in the history of the United States. Mr. Bloomberg had policies in New York City of stop and frisk, which went after African American and Latino people in an outrageous way. That is not a way you're going to grow voter turnout. What our movement is about is bringing working class people together. Black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American, around an agenda that works for all of us and not just the billionaire class.
You know, there was an amazing moment in this debate where they were talking about the morality of billionaires, right? And Bloomberg said basically, well, I worked hard, so I deserved it. And Bernie came back at him with, how about the workers in your company who also worked hard? Don't you think that they also deserve to share in that prosperity? I mean, it was like a direct class warfare moment, and it got to the beating heart of what the campaign and truly the divide within the Democratic Party is really all about.
Right, truly. Although I don't think there's that many working class people working at Bloomberg LP. So
fair.
I don't have much sympathy.
But you get his point.
Yeah,
you get his point. All right. So with Nevada caucus being today, we wanted to go ahead and make our predictions. I have to say, This one was really hard. This
No
was
polls.
the one. Yeah, well, there's no polls. You just had a debate. There's the early vote. How does that change? It was so large. Very, very hard to suss this one out. I would say we have the least confidence probably in these predictions
Let's set
so far.
expectations
We're gonna
very
set
low.
Yes,
so we can still take victory lap whenever they're correct.
Exactly. Yes, indeed. All right. So number 5, we've got amazing Amy Klobuchar. Look, she came out of Iowa, yes, with a lot of momentum, but I don't know if you read the reporting about how they had nothing on the ground in Nevada. They were just not ready. They haven't prepared in the state.
Amy expected to drop out after New Hampshire, and then she got a stunning third and raised like $2 million. And she was like, what do I do with all this money? And then, she didn't have a stellar debate performance. So, yeah, she's going to get 5th.
5th place for Amy. 4th place?
We're thinking Pete Buttigieg. So even though Pete has a decent organization, he just has no support amongst working class candidates. The unions are not necessarily behind him.
Right.
Anti-Medicare for all vote. None of the strengths of the campaign work to his advantage. I don't even think he's going to be in Nevada during the Nevada caucuses. So overall, it's just not the right place for him.
Can I tell you what to me was like the little tell that put him in 4th place for me was, first of all, I thought he seemed completely desperate on the debate stage.
He did.
Like he was swinging at everybody. He was sweating a little bit. He wasn't well shaven. I mean, it just seemed like he felt like he had to make something happen or else it was done for him. And then his campaign put out that memo basically sounding the alarm saying, we have to coalesce around someone or else Bernie Sanders is going to march the nomination. So his campaign to me has a bit of a whiff of desperation around it that may indicate a not great finish in Nevada, but not sure on these at all. Number 3, Joe Biden.
Yes.
On the one hand, Joe hasn't shown much in terms of signs of life anywhere.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
wasn't very good on the debate.
Wasn't very good on the debate, but wasn't like notably bad the way that Michael Bloomberg was.
Right.
And on the other hand, Nevada is the first like working class state. It's the first diverse state. He does have some sort of natural strengths there. The union leadership of the culinary union seems to want to back him. Harry Reid has said favorable things, so I think he has some natural advantages there. This is a state that, a month ago I would have said he had a really good shot to win.
Oh, he was leading in the polls there not even a month ago. So it just goes, that's why I think we're putting him in the 3s. He does have at least some support there. This is a tough one, but I do think he's going to get 3rd.
Yeah. Number 2, we're saying Elizabeth Warren, based largely on the fact that, and this is part of why Pete's in number 4, as we've seen with Pete and Amy and Elizabeth Warren, they're basically competing over the same pool of voters that shifts around a lot. Warren had that, truly effective debate performance that garnered her lots of media attention. She doesn't do very well with diverse communities, but she does a little bit better than Pete and Amy do. So I think she may be the wine track candidate that comes out,
And I'll tell you why, which is that yes, a large amount of the votes have been cast, but whoever does show up, she's the natural choice of a second choice person for a Pete or an Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah, so
voter.
She could get that realignment.
Get a real bump on the second alignment, which could bump her up to the 2nd.
Yeah, which leaves number 1, Bernie Sanders. This was the only one we didn't have trouble picking. And look, I don't want to say that this is like a slam dunk. I think we should all keep in mind that he was not leading in the polls in the state until very recently. We should also keep in mind that the culinary union has done their level best to try to
caucuses are weird.
Try to undercut him. Caucuses are weird. Harry Reid is still very influential in the state and doesn't have a lot of love for Bernie Sanders. So he has a lot that is stacked against him. But on the other side of that, his campaign has done the work in terms of organizing in Nevada, organizing in Latino communities. Shout out to Chuck Rocha, who has done an incredible job spearheading that effort. It's a working class centric state. A lot of natural strengths here for Bernie Sanders.
And he's got the money, he's got the organization, he's been on the ground there for a long time. His campaign has the most forward looking, out of all of them. And I think, I think that ultimately those little things all stack up, and that's how you win.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. All right, that does it for us. Quick programming note with the Nevada caucus happening today. We're going to be back later with an interview with the Hill's Olivia Beavers, examining how Nevada could turn into another Iowa, God forbid.
And we've got our recurring segment where we break down the week that was in media mishaps. Tomorrow, we'll be back for another round of #RisingQs, and we're going to see you then.